Hello everyone, my name is Ishan Jolly, also known as the JollyLegend, and welcome to this video where I'm reviewing and going over the Electro-Voice RE27ND microphone. I'll also be comparing it to my collection later in the video, but hey, let's go over this microphone. So right now, you're hearing me going straight into this microphone, completely raw, completely flat. I do normalize all my videos to a set volume, so everything is the same volume throughout all the microphones and such, and it's loud and clear, so you can easily hear it on YouTube, because I know some mic reviews, they leave it super quiet, and then you have to turn it all the way up, and it becomes a little more difficult to understand the differences in the microphones. But I like to normalize the volume, so it's at least, loud. But right, so here is the microphone, and this is how it sounds like, and now let's go over all the little switches that it has on it. So, first off, here is the microphone with a high attenuation. So what drew me to this microphone is actually how it doesn't have any it doesn't have proximity effect. It's got that variable D technology to kind of roll off the proximity effect and just get a really nice, rich broadcast sound, but without an overwhelming boom and bloom in the low end that kind of muddies the sound up. So there we go, and this is and the frequency response I saw is kind of similar to how I EQ my DPA microphone, which is rather flat. So I was like, hey, this could be interesting, let's check this out. And I know and this makes it more akin to a flat-sounding microphone. And this is how it sounds like with the more flat option compared to the presence-boosted option that comes with the microphone by default. Now next up, a more subtle low-cut filter. So, while this microphone does have the variable D technology to kind of reduce the proximity effect, or mitigate the proximity effect, you still have the option to turn on a low-cut filter to get rid of some of the extra rumble and boominess down there. And then there's also the option of another low-cut filter, which rolls off a lot of the low end. I believe it's everything sub 1K gets rolled off. So you get a very sort of 1940s radio announcer sound with the Electro-Voice RE27ND. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a newscast after the First World War. You know, that kind of stuff. And there you go, those are demonstrations of all the switches on this microphone. So right, you've heard me speaking to this microphone for a bit, and now let's put it up against my collection of microphones. Alright, so here we have the Behringer XM8500 Budget Dynamic Condenser microphone. Budget Dynamic microphone. It's like £15. Well, £50 when I bought it. May have gone up in price over the last 5 years or so. But this other microphone sounds like, and how it compares up to the Electro-Voice RE27. And now we are back on the Electro-Voice RE27, and this is how it sounds like. Okay, cool. Lovely, jubbly, amazingness, wonderful, and awesome, absolute quality. Okay, brilliant. Now we are on the SM58 microphone, and this is kind of close enough to an SM7B. I don't have one on me right now, but, Shure sound kind of sounds similar. And this is how it sounds like. Shure SM58 up against the Electro-Voice RE27 microphone. What kind of sound do you prefer? And once more up against the Electro-Voice RE27, and this is how it sounds like. And now we have a condenser microphone on the budget end. So this is the blue Ember microphone, which you can get really cheap nowadays. I think it's one of the best microphones, sub 100. I think it sounds really, really good for a budget XLR condenser microphone. I think it's pretty great. So here is the blue Ember microphone up against the Electro-Voice RE27. Okay. And once again, you are back on the Electro-Voice RE27 microphone while we wait for the phantom power to fill up this microphone. And here we have the Rode NT1. Alright, and now we have the Rode NT1 microphone, and this is how that sounds like. So, how does this condenser microphone, renowned for its pretty flat frequency response and pretty neutral sound up against the Electro-Voice RE27? And this is how it sounds like. Okay, cool. And now back on the Electro-Voice RE27 microphone, and you're getting the audio quality once more, just for a palette cleanser, and so on and so forth. Next up, we've got the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure / Lewitt Ray microphone. This is the Lewitt Ray, but they're the same thing when you turn off the audio technology on the Lewitt Ray microphone, so for sake of purposes, the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure. The audio technology is all turned off and everything. So this is how the microphone sounds like when you have a nice sort of airy, bright microphone up against a broadcast dynamic microphone in the RE27. Okay, cool. And here we are back on the Electro-Voice RE27 microphone. And just for a palate cleanser in between each microphone, doesn't really matter what I say, so here you are. Okay, cool, awesome. And now we have the Sony C80 microphone, a condenser microphone, which should have a very bright sort of Sony Japanese sound, which I know is very bassy, very rich sounding, but also very sharp. So there you go, Sony C80 microphone, and this is how that sounds like. Awesome. And once again, back to the RE27 microphone, and this is how it sounds like once more for your eardrums. And now putting it up against what could be like its closest competitor. This is the, well, other than the SM7B and such, this is the Lauten Audio LS208 microphone, another end-address broadcast microphone. However, this one is a condenser microphone as opposed to the dynamic microphone that you have on the RE27. Let me know which one sounds best out of you guys, and all the switches on this microphone are completely flat and neutral. Awesome. And once again, back on the RE27, just for another palate cleanser, and the sound you get out of this microphone as a brief refresher. Cool. And now we're getting up to my favorite microphones. So, here we have the Sennheiser MKH 416 microphone. Much more expensive than this one, and really has that rich radio, broadcast, super presence, movie trailer sound. Kind of out of the box, got that really boosted high end, and that really bassy low end. That just gives you that really big, boomy, incredible radio movie trailer sound. So hey, if you like the sound of this, Sennheiser MKH 416, there you go. And now back to the Electro-Voice RE27, before we get to our final microphone in this comparison, my daily driver. Alright, and here we have the DPA 2017 microphone, which is pretty much my daily driver. I've been using this pretty much the most often since I got this microphone, other than overall my other microphones. And this is how it sounds like. The main thing I like about this is how, like, sort of neutral it is. How you can mold it to sound like pretty much anything you want. And just get, like, a really nice sound. And you can also, it all sounds really good raw. Like, it's super flat and neutral, just a tiny, tiny peak in the air region. And it, like, kind of rolls off all the sub-bass, but it doesn't make the microphone sound, like, light or thin. It still sounds really rich and deep and, you know, authoritative. But, like, when you do, like, EQ matching or, like, you know, frequency response and such, this microphone, it rolls off everything in the sub-bass region. So you don't get any of that, like, low-end, like, bloom that you would with, like, other microphones that capture that region. So there you go, DPA 2017. Alright, and there you guys go. This is the Electro-Voice RE27 up against all these other microphones used on my voice. And this is how it sounds like. So, let me know what you guys think of this microphone, and which microphone do you like the best out of all the comparisons? See you all in the next video, and goodbye.